Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. Today I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey tea. We have a Mike Green and this is the Juma Golden Dragon. We have a Majohn P139 in white. We have a Cypress, and this is the Raden Mosaic number 4. We have a Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. We have a Visconti Opera Master Tobacco. We have a Cypress Raden Dragon. We have a Danitrio, and this is the Moonlit Grass. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. And we have a Visconti Speakeasy. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So as you probably know by now, I do like Earl Grey tea. It is my favourite tea of choice, followed by Lady Grey tea. And I typically drink Twining's tea. So they are my favourite teas. And when I saw that I was able to pick up a pen themed, not only named as Earl Grey, but also that it actually has real Earl Grey tea leaves infused into this barrel and body there, I just had to get it. I actually have two of these now. So this one is the medium one. I just love it. It's I've been gravitating more towards Benu pens more recently. I think because originally Benu were quite thin and small pens, number 5 nibs. They have actually started making thicker, longer pens with number 6 nibs. And the Euphoria size pen is just perfect for me. I have a number 6 size Schmidt nib on that, and that is a medium nib there. And you can see in the size of my hand, this is actually quite nice size. And you can also post the cap as well. It is a cartridge converter pen. This one was sent to me by a friend, follower called Bill, and I already had a broad version of this, and this is a medium version. I like both of them a lot. I typically do prefer medium nibs. However, if I'm going to put a light, like yellowy goldish coloured ink in it, then I will probably go with a broad nib, especially if I put some shimmer ink in there as well. But this one is a medium, and I love writing with that one. The next pen inked up is the Mike Green, or mikespenfund.com, his website. This is the Juma Golden Dragon, and this really is stunning. You can see here as I turn it, there's a lot of chatoyance there. You get those Golden Dragon scales appearing. Really is quite an interesting material. If I unscrew the cap, I've got a number 6 size Bock broad nib on there. It is a cartridge converter pen, and I've shown this before, but it has like a TWSBI swipe converter on there. And those threads are really, I can just spin that, and it spins on its own. Very well cut and polished there. The pen quite a long pen. I do find it really comfortable for me, even though I normally say that my most comfortable section is a slight concaveness. There isn't really much of a concave at all. It's really more cylindrical on this one, but I still find it quite comfortable to write with. So I have that one. Now there are 3 thread starts, so that's not matching up at the moment, but if I just click it back 1 or 2, typically it will line up, and there you go. So that is an interesting pen. I do love writing with that one. Another one I do like writing with is the Majohn, and this is the P139, P for piston. It's a very much of a retro Mont Blanc, or I also think a Delta Dolce Vita, although I guess that was a copy of a Mont Blanc pen as well. You've got the sort of old vintage style sort of tie clip there. this just is an interesting pen. And I am glad that they brought this out. They started with a number 6 size nib. This is a number 8 size nib. So I picked up the number 8 size nib. This is a medium nib. It's a steel nib. But it writes pretty well. And I do like writing with it. You can post the cap as well if you wish. It will post onto that piston knob. So you do have to be a little bit careful. There is an ink window there as well. But you do, like with posting most caps, you do have to be careful because all of this is the piston knob. So you just have to be a little bit more careful posting or capping and uncapping the cap on the back of that pen. The next pen inked up is the Cypress, and this is the Raden Mosaic number 4. And I've had this inked up for a while now. I just love this pen. It's just a nice work of art, and I love that it's got the abalone crushed shells on it. I love that you've got these gold or bronzish gold bands, and you've also got the crushed duck's eggs, and it just spirals round the pen, and it just is beautiful. So there were 4, I think, versions of this pen. I got the 4th one, and I just think that the pattern looked better on this one. And if I show you the nib, it's got a Cypress number 6 size, 18 karat gold medium nib. I can post the cap. It won't post deeply or securely, but you can post it if you wish to. It is a cartridge converter pen. It's not a piston. It does have a spring-loaded cap there as well, and that is really more to try and avoid your ink drying out. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina, and this is just a wonderful pen. This was one of when Visconti switched from 23 karat palladium nibs to their new in-house 18 karat gold nibs. This was one of the new pens that I got with the new 18 karat gold nib. I went for a medium nib, and at the time, and I'd say still now, the 18 karat gold nibs now write more finer than they used to under the 23 karat palladium nibs. So this really, to me, writes a little bit more like a fine or fine to medium. It's a beautiful pen though. You've got Leonardo da Vinci's signature there. You've got all of his designs engraved into this pen. It really is a beautiful work of art. The clip is a little bit strange, but I can forgive. But 6 eyes, Visconti, 18 karat gold, medium nib. But like I said, it writes a little bit more like a fine. You've got a hook safe lock mechanism. It is a power vac. It's a single, not a double reservoir. You can post the cap, but the amount of metalwork on that clip, that makes it very, very back weighted. So it's difficult, I would say, to write with that pen if you want to post that cap. But I still love that pen. It's a beautiful pen. Glad that I have that in my collection. And then on to the next pen, this one. Now, this is a pen that I picked up just at the end of 2024. I saw this pen, I think it was in 2017, 2018, and I really wanted it. And this is the Visconti Opera Master Tobacco, or sometimes it was called Turtle. Visconti have more recently released a new Turtle, which is very different. But it's mostly named or known by the name Tobacco. And I saw 2 of these within about 3 weeks. The first one had a cracked or stained ink window, so I passed on that. That was at Bertram's Inkwell. And then I decided to then go and buy a different pen or a couple of pens. And then another one turned up again at Bertram's Inkwell. I passed on that one, and I've not seen one since. I saw this on eBay over the Christmas period last year, and it wasn't a bad price, and the guy had make an offer on it, which I did, and he accepted about £100 less for it. So very glad that I did offer it. I did see it. I wasn't looking for this. I was looking for other pens, and I just happened to look at my eBay Visconti search, and lo and behold, this pen was there. So this is a pen I've wanted since about 2017, 2018, and I just haven't been able to get. So a lot of time I will say never. Like, don't say you're not going to buy a pen because you can't find it, because ultimately that pen will show up at some point. You just have to have your eyes open and perhaps be looking or searching for it, or searching for similar pens. So this pen turned up. It's a beautiful tobacco semi-translucent pattern here, or semi-translucent body and cap with some black in it, hence the name tobacco. It really is a nice pen. You've got a double reservoir here. You've got the older 18 karat gold nib there from Visconti, and that is a medium nib as well. You could post the cap on this if you wanted to, and I have done on Opera Masters, but they are quite long and they do feel a little bit back weighted because you've got all of this metal here. You can probably see there it's 779 of 888. You would think with 888 that I would have seen more than 3 of these in the last 7 or 8 years, but that for sale. But no, these I don't know whether or not. I'm guessing they must have all sold out, and they're probably in collectors' collections, and people just don't want to sell them. So very glad that I saw this one on eBay and I was able to pick it up, because this is an Opera Master I wanted for a long time. I was a little bit torn about buying it because I've got a bunch of Opera Masters. I don't write with them a lot now. And I was like, do I really want another Opera Master? And clearly the question was yes. Or the answer was yes, because I added it to my collection. But I did have to think about that one long and hard, because I don't write with my other Opera Masters. I should be writing with them. It's just that I have far too many pens. And I'm very selective on what I want to write with. And for some reason, the Opera Masters just don't seem to cut it at the moment, and over the last year or so. And I think it's probably because of the ink reservoir is so large. It's like 2.5 milliliters of ink. And I used to love that in a pen, because I could then write with that pen for maybe 4 weeks at a time. But nowadays, I think, yeah, I prefer just to be able to refill the pen or clean it out and then move to the next pen. So, but I bought this pen anyway, and it's in my collection. The next pen here is the Cypress Raden Dragon, and this again is another pen that I bought. I actually bought this on Boxing Day last year, the day after Christmas. I kind of saw a photo from Cypress on Instagram, and then very shortly afterwards, a friend, Joe Vitolo, sent me a message and said, "Have you seen this?" And he just bought one. And I looked at it and I scrutinized it, and I was like, well, it's a little bit on the shorter side for me, a little bit on the thinner side, but oh wow, this is absolutely stunning. The amount of artwork on this pen is insane. And I like dragons, so it didn't take much to persuade me to go and buy that pen. And within about 3 days, it arrived. So I'm just so glad that I got to add this to my collection. I don't normally buy multiples, and there's only 5 available. But I probably could have bought another one or another 4 if I wanted to. It's got a Cypress number 6 size, 18 karat gold, broad nib on this one. But they sold out very quickly within, I think, 2 days or 1 day actually, of me buying my one or ordering it. They sold out. But it's such a nice pen. It would have been nice to have had 2 or 3 of these in my collection. But I only have one, and I don't normally buy multiples of the same pen. But it just looks gorgeous. And You can post a cap. It doesn't really post deeply or securely. It is a cartridge converter pen. It's got a spring-loaded cap as well to help stop drying out. That pattern always lines up. So in terms of threads on the cap or the section, it's a single start thread. And I do appreciate that on a pen like that when you want to have the pattern line up. The next pen inked up is the Danitrio Moonlit Grass. This is a Takumi model. I really do love this. It's Akatamanuri. A lot of Japanese here, and then you've got the moon, and then you've got the grass or the moonlit grass, hence the name of the pen. But it's Akatamanuri. I love the Danitrio Urushi lacquered the clip as well. Absolutely stunning. And if I unscrew the cap, the section also is quite decorative. And you have a number 6 size Danitrio Fireball, 18 karat gold, fine nib there. Yes, I can post the cap. I don't normally. With a lot of Maki-e, you can feel that it's raised, and I would just hate to scratch some of that paint off or some of the lacquer off. I'm sure it's pretty hard being Urushi lacquered, but still, I would rather not tempt fate and just not post the cap. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay, and this is an insane pen. It came with a sword, a letter opener, and it came with a very large signet ring as well in an elaborate box. Go and look at my unboxing review of this pen if you want to see more of it. But it's got chainmail. It's just an awesome pen, and you'll see here a Jacques de Molay, who was the last Templar, Knights Templar. I like dragons, I like knights, I like fantasy, and this has a white section here, but a number 6 size 23 karat palladium medium nib. I find this very comfortable to write with. It is a power vac, it's a single reservoir, but I find this is really good. You can't post the cap on it, but I love writing with it. It's a long pen, so you really shouldn't need, in most cases, to post the cap. And you can see that it just about fits in my pen tray. And then the last pen here is the Visconti Speakeasy. And this is a pen made of celluloid. And celluloid will eventually degrade, and it will off gas and then start turning clips and trims sort of green, a kind of like verdigris. And that hasn't happened yet on this pen, and I hope it doesn't happen. I've got other celluloid pens. It hasn't happened on most of them. I have had it on a couple. They still write. They still functional. This one has a number 6 size Visconti. That is a 23 karat palladium medium nib. Super bouncy nib. The name Speakeasy is purely because if you unscrew what normally would be the power vac knob, it's not a power vac, unfortunately. You can store about 5 or 6 milliliters of drink in there, hence the name Speakeasy, the prohibition times. And it's nice from that perspective. You even actually have a dial here where you can actually turn it to have the choice of liquor or alcohol that you want in the pen. And if I unscrew here, you'll see a very small squeeze converter. This really only normally takes cartridges because of that alcohol reservoir there. So you really can't get much more ink in this pen, which is a shame. It's a beautiful pen. I love this celluloid. It really is beautiful. And I do have the St. Basil, both in fountain pen and rollerball as well, which is of the same material, but it has a gold inlay. Beautiful celluloids. And I do know that Stephen Brown was saying, I think on his end of year videos, that that his one has started to degrade a bit. Like the trim here has started to come away. There's some chips coming out of the celluloid, which is a shame, and it can and will happen eventually because celluloid will degrade over time. But normally it's over 50 or 100 plus years. But yes, it can happen depending on the environment it's actually stored in. Thankfully, mine has not degraded yet, and it's the same age. So I have that one inked up. It's just a beautiful pen. It's a long pen. It's a girthy pen, and I like long pens and girthy pens. So for me, that ticks all of the boxes. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up this week is the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. So we'll do an ink swatch here, and this is a medium nib version that Bill sent me. Really do like this nib. Very, very nice writing nib. So this is the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. And as I said, it's a medium, and it's a steel Schmidt nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. And that to me is a really nice match. I do have a broad one with another, I think it was Dominant Industry that make Earl Grey, yes it is, make Earl Grey tea, which is a more of a goldish amber colour. But I think both match the pen really nice because of the name of the pen. The next pen is the Mike Green, and this is the Juma Golden Dragon. And really enjoying this pen a lot. It really has become a favourite of mine. The nibs, all of the nibs that Mike puts on his pen are bought from or sourced from and tuned by Kirk Spears at Pen Realm. And I find that this nib writes perfectly out of the box. And that's really how most pens should write. So this is the Mike Green, and it's the Juma Golden Dragon. It's a broad nib, and it's a steel nib, and I really, really am loving that. It's a Bock nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Ochre, which again I think is a good match for the colour of this pen. A mid to dark brown, I think matches that pen quite nicely. The next pen inked up is a Majohn P139 in white. Now, yes, this is a bittersweet pen because it's a white pen and I really can't ink it up with white ink because you're not going to be able to see it on the paper, and typically you don't get white fountain pen ink. It would have to be pigmented, or it would have to be iron gall, and that would just ruin the pen. So I inked it up with a purple pen and a purple ink, and this is the Majohn P139. It's a medium, it's a number 8 size steel nib, and the ink in here is Sailor. It's actually Shikiori, and it's Fuju Sugata, which is a lovely coloured ink. A little bit of a blurple, mauvish coloured ink. The next pen inked up is the Cypress, and this is the Raden Mosaic number 4. So we'll do an ink swatch here, and this is a brown ink, but it's a much more lighter. It's really sort of a green brown or a golden brown, almost gold coloured ink. So this is the Cypress, Raden, Mosaic, number 4, and it's a medium and it's an 18 cat gold nib. The ink in here is Robert Oster, Muddy Bucket, but that I think is a nice colour. I wanted to put Gold Antiqua in there, but I have Gold Antiqua in another pen, so that was in the Maki-e Goldfish. I'm just thinking there could be some other gold inks I could put in there. And maybe I'll have to do that next time when I flush out that pen. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is just a beautiful writing nib. Really, really hats off to Visconti on this one. So this is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina, and it's a medium and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and the ink in here is diamine ochre, but this is a really beautiful writing nib. I really do like that nib a lot. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Opera Master, and this is the Tobacco. So I think we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a nice writing nib as well. I did think about maybe inking it up with Diamine Tobacco, but I know also that's a little bit more of a darker brown, and I wanted maybe a mid brown. So this is the Visconti Opera Master Tobacco, and it's a medium and it's an 18 cat. It's the older 18 cat gold nib from Visconti, and then the ink in here is Akerman, and it's SBRE brown. And I just had to. That was, I think, a more perfect colour ink for that pen. I know that I think the first time I saw that pen was from Stephen Brown, and I knew that I wanted it back then. And I think I want to say he had a blue or something inked up with it back then. But I think now he inks it up with Akerman SBRE brown, and typically I have inked it up with the same ink as well. The next pen inked up is the Cypress, and this is the Raden Dragon. I really want to call this the Golden Dragon as well, but this is a beautiful pen, and again, it's what colour ink do you put in here? Do you put a gold or do you put a brown? I put a brown ink again. So this is the Cypress Raden Dragon. It's a broad and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and I think I asked Cypress at the time. There were only 5 available, and it has this special dragon nib there, and it was default coming as a fine, and they said let us know if you want a different grade nib, and I said a medium or broad, and they gave me a broad. Very actually glad that I got a broad. It's not a huge difference compared to a medium. The ink in here is diamine ochre, and I probably should have looked at putting a different ink in there. I think at some point I probably will put Robert Oster Gold Antiqua in that one, because I think it would match quite nicely. The next pen inked up is the Danitrio, and this is the Moonlit grass. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a very bouncy nib that you can see there. So this is a beautiful writing nib. This is how I like my nibs. This is how I like my Danitrio nibs, my Visconti nibs. It just is perfect. So this is a Danitrio, and this is the Moonlit grass. And it is a fine, and it is an 18 cat gold nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red. But that is again a very nice writing nib. Do I have any bad writing nibs in my collection? Yes, I do. But typically, if a nib writes badly, I will tune it myself to make it write much better. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I've always inked this up with the same ink, and I just love this ink. And I've already inked it up on one of these pens, so you can guess pretty much what pen that is. So this is the Visconti, it's the Last Templar, it's the Jacques de Molay. And it's a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. But when Visconti announced that they had stopped supplying or getting the 23 cat palladium nibs, my heart kind of skipped a beat because I love those nibs so much. But the newer 18 cat gold nibs that have come along since are still pretty good, and I like them as well, but I still love the bouncy 23 cat palladium nibs. And then the last pen inked up is the Visconti Speakeasy, and again this has one of those bouncy 23 cat palladium nibs. So we'll do an ink swatch here, and again, look, you can see there how bouncy that nib is, how much flex you can get out of that nib. It just is a very beautiful writing nib. So this is the Visconti, and I'm just going to have to refill it because I just remembered I didn't refill it, so it is running on fumes at the moment. So this is the Visconti, and it is the Speakeasy. And it's a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red. And I'm trying to think. I think I might have actually inked that one up many years ago. I was thinking Diamine Wild Strawberry, but actually no, I think it was Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red that I used to put in that pen. Maybe I should go back to that. I think I've got a couple of bottles of that left. But I do like Diamine Poppy Red. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We've got a Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Mike Green Juma Golden Dragon in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Majohn, and this is a P139 in a medium steel nib inked up with Sailor Shikiori Fuju Sugata. We have a Cypress Raden Mosaic number 4 in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Austin Muddy Bucket. We have a Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Visconti Opera Master Tobacco in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Akerman SBRE Brown. We have a Cypress Raden Dragon in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Danitrio, and this is the Moonlit Grass in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. And then last but not least, we have a Visconti Speakeasy in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with diamine poppy red. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.